Hey guys, I hope that I'm live right now. If you guys are able to listen me properly, as well as there's no issues with the audio or the video, please let me know. Hello everyone, I hope that I'm live right now, guys. If you guys are able to listen me properly, as well as there's no issues with the audio or the video, please let me know. Guys, is there any issues with the audio or the video? All good? No issues whatsoever, right? Okay, great. So how was your day, guys? How was your day? How was your day, guys? Great, awesome, good, very good, excellent. So whenever I ask you guys about your day, right, I hope so that you guys understand I'm not actually asking you about your day. I'm actually asking about how productive your day was. So I measure how good the day was in terms of productivity. Did you feel that you were productive today? Did you feel like you learned something new, or whatever your aim was for today's day, you were able to achieve that academically itself? Yeah, I am not asking about ki acha today I aim to go out with my friends to drink and I have done that, or today I aimed for smoking 4 cigarettes and I have done that. So that is not an aim for today, right? So I hope so that you guys understand that every single day that you are having, it is very important for you guys to have a productive day at any particular point of time. Productivity is how you should understand how your day is going always. I hope so that is clear with everybody, right? Great, awesome, awesome. So, nevertheless, guys, now that I'm able to understand that you guys had a bit of a productive day, I really feel nice about it. Man, I'm sorry. Okay. We will continue. Does DSN, C, and C++ has any difference? The see, you guys are able to understand, right? You're not learning data structures and algorithms to learn data structures and algorithms. How many of you guys understand what I'm trying to say right over here? This statement that I'm making right over here, that you are not learning data structures and algorithms to actually learn data structures and algorithms. How are you feel? Are you feeling fine today? I don't know. I have got my hand injured and I'm not able to type at all due to that, but I'll still type. I don't really care about that. The point right over here is that the statement that you're not learning data structure algorithms to learn DSA is that people, when you think, okay, like I'm trying to learn physics, I'm trying to learn thermodynamics, let's say. So you're learning it to understand it. You're gaining the conceptual clarity of thermodynamics. So it does not matter which book you are following, right? You can learn it from it. Hardy. What was the name of that person? Which Sharma? Concepts of physics. Okay, maybe you are learning it from the NCRT book, you are learning it from HP Verma. What was the name of the book? I am still not able to get it. You're learning it from Halliday Resnick. HC Verma, HC Verma or Halliday Resnick or something like that, right? So it does not matter which book you are learning it from, you are trying to get a conceptual clarity on top of it. But if you are preparing for a exam, like you are preparing for IIT JEE, okay, or mains or advanced, you just cannot follow just one book. There'll be a particular set of questions right over there, so you have to practice according to that. You have to practice according to how the exam is going to set right over there. It is not going to depend upon a particular book at the end of the day, but a particular type of question that you will have to answer. In the exact same way, right now, you are not learning data structures and algorithms to understand DSA. You're not doing that. You are learning it to crack a job. You are learning it to crack an interview. And for that particular purpose, if you're learning, then learning data structures and algorithms in C or in Python or in JavaScript is one of the worst decisions that you can take. But different reasons are there. For example, for C, you will never be able, if you're learning DSA in C, you'll never be able to cross the online coding exam. Why? Because in the online coding exam, you have to write fast, you have to use inbuilt things, and because you're using C, there's nothing inbuilt in that. So you are wasting a lot of time in writing code, and you will never be able to pass the exam itself. Now, when it comes to Python or JavaScript for data structures and algorithms, these are very vast programming language. Okay? And because it is a very vast programming language, the type of questions that can be asked to you guys in the interviews can be very, very, very difficult right with it. And due to that very reason, I always say this: never use Python or JavaScript for data structures and algorithms. Never use C for data structures and algorithms. Always choose the basics, that is C++ or Java, because that is what has less amount of questions in the interview, is fast enough for your online coding exams. So that is something that you guys need to understand. Free Iqbal, I've already said it takes 5 to 6 days to send the certificate, so you have to be patient for the same. Okay. Okay, so now that I've cleared that question up, let's start with our today's class, shall we, guys? Shall we start with our today's class, guys? So Java is also vast, but the interview questions in Java is fixed. That is the reason. Every programming language is very vast, but you have to think about it in terms of what type of questions are going to be coming in your interviews. And for Java and C++, the number of questions is fixed. So there is a certain question that you just have to memorize. You can go and just blurt it out right over there, and that is it. Okay. Okay, so right over here, guys, I hope so that the screen is absolutely clear to you guys. I'll make it a little bit more smaller, and then I'll just open up a C++ online compiler. Oh, there is so much heat right over here. Okay, and we'll stick with this. Okay, I think so. Everything should be very clear to you guys. There shouldn't be any issues with that. I missed my first live session. No issues in that, Mr. Rahman. If you still have like all the rest of the days of attendance, you'll still get the certificates. Okay? Okay. We'll input one line of code using names. Guys, I might be writing a little bit slow today. Okay? Because my hand is still not working right. Okay? STD, and that's it. Let's remove this from right over here. And let's start writing our code. So today we are going to learn about two different things, that is your conditional statements and your loops. Okay, the two things that we will be learning in our today's class. So let's focus upon that first. Beautiful places, like please focus upon the class. Whenever I feel like taking up the attendance, I'll take it. Okay, so right away, guys, the first thing is conditional statements. In your daily life as well, there's a lot of times that you have to take up a decision, right? That if I have a salary of more than 40,000 rupees, I'll get myself a dog. If this girl loves me, then I will make her my girlfriend. Okay. If uh, let's say if it is not raining today, I'll go out for a walk, right? So there is a lot of conditions that you're making in your daily life as well every single day. In a very similar manner, inside of programming as well, there's a lot of time when we want to take up some decisions. Okay, so that is what we're going to learn in our today's class. When are we going to start with DSA? From tomorrow's class itself. So the first thing is a simple if statement. Let's create a particular variable. Int rent is equals to let's say 4,000. If rent is greater than 5,000, in that particular case, print, sorry, not print, cout less than the rent is very high. I've done a very simple if statement, guys. I've created a particular variable called as rent that contains a particular amount, that is 4,000 rupees. That contains a particular amount, 4,000 rupees, guys. Now, if rent is greater than 5,000, I'm checking up a condition right over here. The condition that I'm checking is my rent greater than 5,000 rupees? So what do you guys think? Is the rent greater than 5,000 rupees, guys? Please let me know. Is the rent greater than 5,000 rupees? Please let me know. No, right? So the answer for this particular condition will be false. Okay, the answer for this particular condition will be false. Why? Because rent is not greater than 5,000 rupees. So answer is false. So because it is false, so this condition is being checked right over here. If this condition would have been true, then and only then this statement will have been printed, otherwise not. Otherwise not. So this particular code, this small piece of code that is there in between these curly brackets, that gets printed only and only if this condition is true, otherwise not. For example, if I try to print this out, right? If I try to run this, as you will see, nothing is being printed on our screen, guys. Nothing is being printed on our screen. यार ये लोग है ना बहुत इरिटेटिंग लगते हैं मेरे को वो बच्चे जो स्टेटस बच्चा जो भी है, ठीक है, बहुत इरिटेटिंग लगते हैं बच्चे जो क्लास में ध्यान ही नहीं देते. क्योंकि मैं अभी इसको सर्टिफिकेट दूं भी किस नाम पे दूं, इसको तो ये भी नहीं पता सर्टिफिकेट आएगा कब, मतलब ये क्लास में ध्यान ही नहीं दे रहा था. Status in the previous bootcamp as well, I've already told this, that it takes us 5 to 7 days to send the certificates after the end of the bootcamp. Please pay attention to the class, otherwise I don't know why you are just behind the certificates. तुम्हें तो इतना भी नहीं पता सर्टिफिकेट कब मिलने वाला है. क्या ही बताऊं भाई तुझे. Very bad, very bad, very bad, very disappointing right over there. Okay, so right over here, guys, as you are able to see, okay, that we are having, because this is false, this statement is false, hence we are not able to print anything. Let's increase the rent to 6,000 rupees, guys. Let's increase the rent to 6,000 rupees and let's rerun this. Now, our rent is greater than 6,000, right? Our rent is greater than 6,000. So this statement, rent greater than 5,000, is true. So this statement is true. Because this statement is true, this line will get printed. If I run this, as you're able to see, rent is very high is being printed on our screen. Now, what if I want to check multiple conditions, not just one, but multiple conditions right over there? For example, if rent is less than, let's say, 5,000, in that particular case, rent is very low. Else, rent is very high. Print this out. So as you're able to see right over here, guys, if rent is equals to 6,000, right? If rent is equals to 6,000, that is the scenario right over there. If rent is less than 5,000, then is rent less than 5,000, guys? Is rent less than 5,000? Please let me know. No, right? This is false. Rent is not less than 5,000. It is greater than 5,000. So this is false right over here. So this will be false. So because this is false, this statement will not get printed. Okay? Because this is false, this statement will not get printed. So if not this, then else, because the statement is not true, so else the other statement will be run. Because the first statement was not true, the else statement will run. This is like normal English. If this does not work out, then only then run this. Right? So if I run this right over here, as you're able to see, we are getting this is very high. The rent is very high. So please start actual DSA. It's so basic. I understand that, Pranav, but please try to understand people coming to this bootcamp. Not everybody knows C++. So I need to make sure that everybody is able to start from the basics itself. Okay? That is the reason why I'm starting from the basics. So as you're able to see, the rent is very high is being printed on our screen. Okay? The rent is very high is being printed on our screen. If rent is less than, let's say, 4,000, if rent is 4,000 rupees. So now the first particular sentence is getting printed because rent is less than 5,000. So this statement will get printed and the next statement will not be printed because the first statement itself is true. Because the first statement itself is true, the next statement will not get printed because else only works if the first statement is false. So I run this right now, as you're able to see, I'm only printing one statement that the rent is very low. But what if I want to check more conditions like this? I want to check more conditions like this. What should I do right over there? So let's take, if rent is less than 3,000, then rent is very low. Else if rent is less than 5,000, rent is very high. Else, sorry, rent is mod okay. Else rent is very high. So what is happening right over here, guys? What is happening right over here? The first sentence, because rent, let's say it's 4,000 rupees. So rent is not less than 3,000, right? Rent is not less than 3,000. So this statement is false. The first statement is false, guys, because the rent is less than 3,000. Less is not less than 3,000. The first sentence is false. So this won't be run. Now, one thing that is sure because of this is that the rent is greater than 3,000, right? Because the first statement is already false. We already know this because the statement is false. We already know this, that the rent is already greater than 3,000. We don't know what actually the rent is. Let's assume we don't know actually what the rent is. But just by knowing this, that the first statement is false, we know the rent is either greater than or equal to 3,000. Now the next sentence will be checked. First, we have already checked that the rent is greater than 3,000, greater than or equal to. The next sentence is rent is less than 5,000. Is this statement true? Is this statement true? Yes. So what we know is that rent is greater than 3,000, but rent is also less than 5,000. Both the conditions are being met right over here. And hence we are having C out, the rent is okay. So if I run this, we'll get the rent is okay. But if I increase the rent to 7,000 rupees, if I increase the rent to 7,000 rupees itself, then the first statement is also false. The next statement is also false. The last statement, the last if statement will be shown, right? So if I run this, as you're able to see, we'll get the rent is very high. The rent is very high. Are you guys able to get this? Please let me know. Another way of doing this is actually pretty simple. Okay, let me show it to you guys. Let's take the original code itself. Okay. This is the original code, right? This is the original code. I can write it in another way as well, guys. I can write the exact same thing in a shorthand notation. Okay, I can write the exact same thing in a shorthand notation as well. What is a shorthand notation? It is basically something that you don't have to write a long particular code itself. You can write it in a shorter format. Okay, that is short hand format itself. So the same thing I can write it in such a way. String result is equals to the condition that I want to check. Rent is less than 5,000. That is the condition that I want to check. If it is true, okay, what will happen if this condition is true, guys? Okay, so string result, okay, that is a string that I've created called as result. That is a variable. What is the condition I want to check? The condition is that is rent less than 5,000? Question mark. Okay, is rent less than 5,000? If rent is less than 5,000, then I want to set up that rent is very low. That is the string that I want to set up. Otherwise, okay, if it is false, otherwise, if it is false, then that particular case, I want to set up that the rent is very high. The rent is very high. And then I'm going to print result. C out less than result. I will just comment these lines out. Okay, I will run this. as you're able to see, this same thing is being printed on our screen, that the rent is very low. The same thing is being printed on our screens. I can recheck this as well. If I put 7,000 right over here and run this, then I'm going to get the rent is very high. Yes, this is called as the ternary operator, but this is also called as the shorthand notation as well. Okay, so it is not called as the shorthand notation. This way of writing code is called as shorthand notation. The operator here is of course the ternary operator, but this way of writing code is called as shorthand notation. That, okay, what was the result that I wanted? What is the condition that I want to check? What happens when the condition is true? What happens when the condition is false? It's as simple as that. Okay, so this is how you can convert it into a shorthand notation as well. Are you guys able to get this? Please let me know. Yes, you guys are able to get it. Okay, the next thing that is there now, anything new that will come up while teaching data structures and algorithms, I will teach it to you guys right over there itself. Right now I'm just talking about the basics so that I don't have to reintroduce topics to you guys. Okay. The next thing that we'll be checking is called as loops. What if I want to print hello world 50 times? One thing that I can do is I can write cout hello world 50 times. That is the first thing that I can do. But I don't want to do that, right? Sometimes you want to run a single piece of code again and again and again n number of times. For that, you are having something called as for loops. For that, you are having something called as just loops, but there are multiple types of loops. We are going to learn about for loops and while loops. Okay? So for loop is an entry control loop. We'll understand what is an entry control loop and an exit control loop in the future as well. But right now, we'll just learn about for loops. So for example, if I want to run hello world 50 times, what I'll do is I'll create a for loop. I'll create, hey, Susie. बच्चा बैठ हाँ बहुत अच्छा मेरा बच्चा. Okay, so sorry guys. क्या हाँ भाई तू बहुत प्रोटेक्ट कर ली मेरे को, thank you. Okay, so like I said guys, the for loop itself has three major parts. Okay, the iterator, the particular condition, and the increment, or like whatever you want to do. Okay, there are three parts to a for loop, guys. Okay, the three parts to a for loop: the iterator, the condition, and the increment. Okay, the iterator is like you counting every single step that you want to take. You want to take one step at a time, you take one step at a time. You want to take 50 steps at a time, you take 50 steps at a time itself. Okay, that is what an iterator is. We'll see how to create these as well. Right now, I'm just writing normal English, guys. I'm not doing anything right over there. Okay. So right over here, guys, the condition is what condition? When do you want to close the loop? The loop cannot go for infinity, right? The loop cannot go for infinity. So what condition should be met to close the loop? What condition should be met for the iterator for you to close the loop? That is what the condition is. And increment is for every step that you take. So I starts from, the increment starts from 0. You can't start counting from 0 and then you take up one step at a time, or 2 steps at a time, or 5 steps at a time. That is what increment is. So first we'll initialize the iterator. Now the iterator is just like a normal variable. For example, right over here, we'll create int I is equals to 0. So we are initializing the iterator from 0. I is our iterator, that is an integer iterator, which starts counting from 0, which starts its initialization from 0. The condition that we want to check is we want to print hello world 5 times. Okay? Want to print hello world 5 times. So I is 0. Let's take up for you guys. I'll take it from form 1 itself so that you guys are able to understand. Condition we put I should be less than or equal to 5. I should not be greater than 5, guys. I should be less than or equal to 5. And then increment. Okay, we will increment things up. I plus plus. I plus plus. Now, what does this mean? Okay, so or I will not take I plus plus. I'll put something easy for you guys to understand. I is equals to I plus 1. Okay, I'll take it something easy to understand. I is equals to I plus 1, guys. Okay, so now I'll put C out less than hello world less than and L and close the particular sentence. Now what is going to happen is that first the value of I would be equal to 1. First the value of I is equal to 1. Is I less than 5? Less than or equal to 5, guys? Yes, I is less than equal to 5. I is right now 1. Okay, so we'll enter into the loop and we'll print hello world. We'll enter into the loop and we'll print hello world. Now the value of I is also increased by 1. The new value of I is I plus 1, that is 2. Original value of I was 1. Now the value of I is 2. Now hello world will be printed. Again we'll go back to the top. Is 2 less than 5? Is the current value of I, that is we incremented I by 1. Is the value of I less than 5 or equal to 5? Yes. We'll again increment it by 1. We'll print hello world. Okay. Then we'll again go back to the top. Is 3 less than equal to 5? Yes. Again we'll increment by 1. So 4. Again we'll come back and we'll print hello world. Again we'll go back to the top. Again I is less than equal to 5. So again we'll print 5. So again we'll have 5 right over here, and then so on and so forth. Now in the exact same manner, if you want to see, instead of printing just the hello world, let's also print the value of I. Let's also print the value of I, guys. Okay. So we'll print this. We'll print the value of I as well as hello world. We will run this right over here. As you're able to see, the value of I is being printed. So 1 and then hello world, 2 then hello world, 3 then hello world, 4 then hello world, 5 then hello world. As soon as the value becomes 6, as soon as the value becomes 6, because 6 is not less than equal to 5, the loop terminates. The loop terminates right over there. Now, for example, if I want to print all the odd values, okay, if I want to print just all the odd values less than 30, that is what I want to do. Less than equal to 30, all the odd values I want to print. Now I will have to increment I by 2. I cannot increment it by 1, right? I need to increment it by 2 right over there. So I'll increment the value of I by 2, and if I print I out, let us remove this. We don't require it anymore. I print it out. As you're able to see, every time the loop runs, okay, it increments the value of 2. The I value increments by 2, not by 1. Okay, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, so on and so forth. If I want to print all the even values, I will start my I by 0. I'll initialize my I by 0. Again, I will run this. Again, I will get all the odd values that are going to be there. I'll get, sorry, all the even values that are going to be there, right? So that is how a for loop works. That is how a for loop works. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know. We'll be using for loops a lot, guys, when we'll start DSA from tomorrow. So I want you guys to understand for loops properly. Okay. And yes, we'll see some STLs as well. We'll see vectors and everything, because without that, you cannot learn data structures and algorithms. DSA is not just arrays. You rarely use arrays while programming. You will be using vectors. So I will have to teach you guys both arrays as well as vectors. So don't worry about that. I'll keep that in mind. From tomorrow onwards, we'll be starting with our data structures and algorithms. Okay. Okay. Now, while loop is very similar to for loop. Okay. While loop basically states int I is equals to, let's 0. Okay, we are initializing I by 0. Now the while loops comes into picture. While, then the condition that you want to check, while I is less than or equal to 30. The condition that you want to check, while I is less than or equal to 30, that is the condition that we wanted to check. What do you want to do? I want to print C out I and L. This is what I want to print. Let us just comment this out. And then we'll increase the value of I by, will you complete full DSA in this bootcamp? Nitesh, Maafi Nitesh. अगर तुम्हें लग सकता है कि तुम में वो पोटेंशियल है कि तुम 7 दिन में डीएसए पढ़ सकते हो, दितेश, आई विल सजेस्ट नॉट टू लर्न डीएसए, डू समथिंग गुड विथ योर लाइफ. ठीक है, you are now, I think so, even more intelligent than Albert Einstein was at his age. Even at his peak, he was not that intelligent that he can learn the entirety of DSA in 7 days. What people take to learn DSA 2 to 3 years to properly learn DSA, if you are able to learn it in 7 days, bro, leave the fucking DSA, do something good with your life. I think so. You can invent time traveling or some shit like that as well. Okay, so do that then. Okay, so C out I and L, okay, and then we'll increase the value of I by 2. So I is equals to I plus 2. You can also write the same thing as I plus is equals to 2. It means the exact same thing. Okay, it means the exact same, but I prefer to write I is equals to I plus 2 for you guys. It feels right, okay, in the first few days. So that is how you can use it. Now this will do the exact same thing for you guys. Okay, it will again print 0 to 30, all the even numbers right over there. So that is also something, that is the while loop itself. Okay, so are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know. I'll teach you guys how to learn DSA on your own. While teaching you guys a little bit about DSA, how to practice it, I'll make you practice some questions. I'll make you think about some questions as well. I will even teach you guys vectors and arrays so that you guys are having some idea about the topic. So do not worry. After the bootcamp, you can continuously learn. I'll give you guys the resources and everything as well. But yeah, 7 days में DSA करना is impossible even for me. Even teaching DSA in 7 days will be impossible for me. Okay, maybe you are that intelligent that you can learn DSA in 7 days, but I am not. Okay, that great of a person that I can teach DSA in 7 days. Okay. Okay, so as you're able to see right over here, this is what your particular while loop is. Are you guys able to understand? DSA in Python तो भैंचन में मरते दम तक नहीं करवाने वाला, उसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है कहीं पर भी. You should never learn DSA in C, in Python or in C or in JavaScript. I've already explained it in the starting of the day itself. रात दिन एक करके तब भी नहीं हो पाएगा नितेश. रात दिन एक करके तो मेरे को 4 महीने लगे थे डीएसए सीखने में. मुझे सीखने में लगे, मैं सिखा कैसे दूं. Okay. We have not yet started Laya. We will be starting it very soon. Okay. Okay. Are you guys able to understand this? So what if we don't put return 0? It shows the same output. Absolutely yes. But you can put your face in your thali and start eating it like a dog as well, right? But that is not a very good way of eating. You will not be called as a human. You will be called as a particular dog. So please recommend some practical platforms and books on DSA. There are no practical platforms and books on DSA. Books are the shit on DSA. Okay, I tried it out. I never liked it. I will never suggest anyone. Now, practical DSA to kuch nahi hota. The name for practical DSA is called as competitive programming. Okay, that is the official term for competitive programming for practical DSA. And we will be solving some questions via some platforms, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. Okay. Are you guys able to understand this? Please let me know. That's actually pretty good, Preetham. You can implement a website as well. Actually, you can use Python to do that as well. But yeah, that's a good idea for a project. Okay. Now my hand has started paining. I cannot type any longer. I'll have to put the bandage on once again. Actually, my little finger has been fractured. So when I'm typing, I'm trying not to use the middle finger, but it is paining a lot. That is the reason why yesterday I was not able to attend the class. I had gone to get it plastered itself. Patti lagane ke liye main gaya tha. Okay. Please explain the while loop again. What were you not able to understand, Swati? The while loop. Please let me know. Ajay, what were you not able to understand? Let me know. I'll help you understand it. Is .NET similar to CPP? .NET is different. Okay, you have something called a C Sharp. That is an advanced version. It is like you have seen Pokemon, right? Pokemon may you are having this Pikachu and then Raichu and then all these other types of chews that are there in the entire series, right? They evolve. The Pokemon evolve slowly and steadily. So think about it in such a way: you are having C, C evolves into C++, C++ evolves into your C sharp, and the back end framework for building websites, legacy websites, means 15 years back into today, if you were, then you use .NET, and that works using C sharp. But right now, due to the modern technologies, companies prefer to use JavaScript rather than C sharp or .NET. Okay. What's the difference between while and if? Uh, if you make me angry, I will slap the fuck out of you. That is an if statement. Okay. And the while statement is, while you are currently irritating me, for that entire time being, I'm going to continuously slap you every 1 second. So in one particular statement, that is the if statement, I have one condition. If it is met, I will just slap you once and you go away. Okay. But in the while statement, till the time that the particular statement is true, I'm going to continuously slap you and your face will burst. Okay. So that is the difference between an if statement and a while statement. Okay. Okay. Uh, so is the .NET okay to learn? Please not learn .NET. There's no utilization of .NET. Okay. So what does STL mean? Standard template library. We are going to see that when we'll be looking at vectors. Okay. Please explain the difference between for loop and while loop. There is no difference between a for loop and a while loop. They are one and the same itself. You get two ways of doing the exact same thing. You can use a fork to eat Maggie. You can use a spoon to eat Maggie. Both of them are going to do the exact same thing. See, I'm not going to beat anybody. I'm a very, very, very silent guy. Okay. So never worry about that. It was just a joke. Do not take it up seriously. Okay. Can we use do while loops? Absolutely yes. There are some ways in which there are do while loops as well. You look like Carrie Minati. Yeah, people have told me I look like a like if Carrie Minati ate another Carrie Minati, then I will look like him. Like I'm fat due to that very reason. Okay. So which all topics are you going to cover from data structure algorithms? I've planned on covering arrays and vectors and a little bit of competitive programming in that particular way as well, so that you guys are able to understand how to do that. But if time permits, I'll take up one or two more topics as well. Okay. इंसान अपनी पर्सनालिटी का अकॉर्डिंगली एग्जाम देता है सर जी, तब भी नहीं मारूंगा भाई। मेरे को मारने पीटने में कोई ये नहीं है। व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कंपाइलर एंड इंटरप्रेटर? You can just Google it up. I think so. They will be able to provide you a much clear distinction between the two itself. How many loops in C++? There's while loop, do while loop, for loop. There are 2, 3 versions of for loops that are there. So yeah, there are multiple things that you can do with that. Okay, please tell me latest good projects for final years, impressive for interviews. There's nothing that as a project that you will be able to create to impress somebody for interviews, because for interviews you will have to clear an online coding round. And that online coding round is basically data structures and algorithms and competitive programming. Then even for your interviews, the first round of interviews are going to be data structures and algorithms. After that, somebody sees your resume and looks at your projects, not even and your internships. Only projects and internships. They don't even look at your certificates. So please stop going around certificates itself. Please don't learn data structures and algorithms from book. It makes no sense. Okay. So can we do iteration without using for loop? Yeah, you can use a while loop. You can use a do while loop. Yes. Is it possible to build AI on C++? Absolutely yes. So where can we learn completely data structures algorithms? You can use free platforms like LeetCode or YouTube to learn it, or you guys can join an online course or something. Even DevTown has an online training institute that is there. You can join there to learn data structure algorithms, competitive programming, or full stack or data science. So which is greater than mind or buffalo? Depends upon what you're measuring. Just a mind, it's not sufficient. It is already dead. Mind with a body, you are measuring the size, then mind is smaller, the buffalo is big. If you are measuring IQ, then depends upon whose mind are you measuring it with. So for example, ant's mind will have less IQ compared to a buffalo's mind. So again, questions are very important. Asking the right question is very important. Which languages are more important for placements? Languages are never important for placements. It is your technology, your knowledge that is important for placements. Yes, you can choose a particular language that makes questions a little bit easier in the interviews, but again, languages are not important. Okay, so we'll give you guys skills or marks. What matters more? Of course, skills. No company is going to be like, "Oh, you have a 10 CGPA. Come work for us." company पागल है क्या? Sir, start roasting evolved version of Nati. Maybe someday, not now. From where can we practice data structures and algorithms? I will suggest LeetCode. LeetCode is actually a good platform to practice, or CodeChef. CodeChef is also an excellent platform to practice. Can we apply for internship after learning only Java core and DSA or framework is important? Just Java core and DSA is also not sufficient. You will have to do with competitive programming as well if we're aiming for MNCs. If you're not aiming for MNCs, you are aiming for startups. In that case, if it is not a very big or well-known startup, then it does not matter if you're not doing DSA as well. Then only full stack development should be more than sufficient for you. But yes, if you're only planning to do DSA and CP, then as well it is not sufficient. You still have to learn a lot. Okay, right now the competition has increased a lot in the market, so you have to stand out to get shortlisted. Otherwise, it's just not possible. Can a student from ECE get a job? I have heard a lot of students that are getting placed in ECE. सर डिज्नी प्लस हॉटस्टार के बारे में थोड़ा पूछना था, लेक्चर्स के बाद पूछ सकता हूँ? अभी पूछ लो यार, जल्दी से अभी पूछ लो. Sir, is this helpful for off-campus placements? Absolutely yes. Sir, I know front end now trying to do DSA. Can you give a roadmap for first year CSE students? Very good. I like this person. I really like this person. You're starting at the right time actually. So try to start with learning data structures and algorithms. You can either take a particular playlist from YouTube, any playlist from YouTube, or you can take up a course. You can even join DevTown. DevTown has a paid program that is there. If you want to learn it from free, YouTube is the best place to learn it from free. Once you're learning data structures and algorithms, simultaneously practice from LeetCode. Whatever topics you prepare from your particular YouTube or DevTown, you practice those questions from LeetCode as well. Once you practice them up and once you're able to learn 3-4 topics have been completed, study DSA and simultaneously practice from LeetCode while giving exams on CodeChef. CodeShip is like a test series. Okay, for JEE mains, just learning via NCRT. So learning DSA is like learning from NCRT. Okay, practicing from LeetCode is like going to a particular coaching center to learn things, to give your DPPs and practice problems itself. That is LeetCode. And then your CodeShip is more like your test series. Okay, you gave test series when you were preparing for JEE mains, right? The like, okay, 3 hours, 5 questions, and you'll have to solve it. That is how the exams are going to be there. So that is your particular code shift. Okay, copy. What is competitive programming? We'll be learning it in this particular boot camp, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, the form is there in the live chat, guys. Please start filling up the form. Sir, उस campus में JS भी होने वाला है या सिर्फ HTML CSS और your finger sir? My finger is not that great, but yes, JavaScript भी होगा because we will be using a little bit of JavaScript as well. Okay, I'm giving you guys the attendance link, guys. Please start filling up the attendance. Please start filling up the attendance. We'll meet in our tomorrow's class and we'll continue from right over there. Okay, please start filling up the attendance. We'll meet in our tomorrow's class and we'll continue from right over there, guys. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.